90.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu here. It's the very last day in the month of October for 2025. It also happens to be a fun, fiery, and fantastic Friday. It's pushing us into yet another weekend that begins November. I trust you've had a great month, but even if you have not, well, you're still here. Hopefully, November is way better for you. I'm excited to be here for all the right reasons. We begin with the big stories. NNPC seeks partners to revive refineries. Senator Natasha invites Akpabio and lawmakers to project commissioning in Kogi. Marketers warn petrol price could exceed 1,000 naira per litre as the president approves a 15% import tariff. At 4 o'clock, I will be having a conversation with one of the local government chairmen. There seems to be something happening in that council, and we're looking to get to the bottom of it. And at 5, we'll be looking at a story that trended across the entire nation. It put Port Harcourt on the map in the news for the wrong reasons. Apparently, there were allegations that a baby and grandmother were trapped in a hospital for over 1 year. There have been lots of developments to that story, but we're looking at a payment structure to health facilities that work. Yes, indeed. 6 brings the major news. After that, it's open season. As always, stay with me.
Not having
Big stories. There are a few stories that made the 3 o'clock bulletin worth our attention. Hoodlums on Thursday attacked operatives of the NDLEA in River State. The head of media and advocacy for the NDLEA in River State, Ugo Olisaemeka Iyi, said the incident took place at the Oduneze Lane, Mile 3 Diobu in Port Harcourt City local government area of River State. He said the hoodlums attacked their operatives during a raid in a suspected drug-infested area of Port Harcourt. In a bid to free their gang members who had been arrested by the NDLEA, Mr. Olisaemeka Iyi explained that attackers reportedly used various weapons against the operatives. Well, I guess the NDLEA have come to the stark reality that they wrestle not against flesh and blood. And at some point, there will be resistance. I'm hoping that they are also ready for the kind of resistance that they might find. And good looking out to those officers. More importantly, I'm hoping that all of this follows due process. And yes, it's kind of the risk of the job. You obviously would be prepared for eventualities such as this. But most importantly, even though it's great to rid the streets of drugs and their dealers, you have to look at the root. And the root in this case is to tackle the market. There is a producer, a supplier, before you now get to the distributor and the end user. If I get an illicit drug off the street because I'm addicted, it's one thing to take me off the street. But if you can get the supplier, whoever is doing this as a business, then that would ensure that I, as well as others who need to be hooked on those drugs, will not get supply. So, well done NDLEA for what you're doing. It's sad that you had to face this, but I'm hoping that your action is not just getting those that use drugs, but you're going after the suppliers. Because many times we hear that they're usually highly placed persons, and in some cases, they might seem to be above the law. So I'm hoping it's not true. Okay. Moving from that, there's a story about the police I saw. The River State Police Command is calling on members of the public to help identify a young girl who died in a fatal motor accident earlier this month. In a letter sent to our station, Nigeria Info, signed by the State Traffic Officer, CSP Mehako, the incident occurred on the 2nd of October along the Rumokoro Eliozo axis of the East-West Road in Port Harcourt. Police said the lady is a dark-complexioned girl, believed to be between 15 and 16 years old, with a low-cut hairstyle. No form of identification was found on her body. The police called on the public to contact the State Traffic Division or Inspector Benjamin Ashikwashi on 0806 894 0423 with any information that may help locate the girl's family. I know it's sad that you're coming to identify a body. Nobody wants to be in this position, but it's still some form of public service. So if you've heard of any family who lost their teenage daughter, been searching for her for quite some time, said something along the lines of, "We have not seen her in a while," just help. And if you're a family member, please, as sad as it is, please go and identify the body. Once again, the numbers given: 0806 894 0423. After the break, we dive into the big stories. Stay with us. It's Hard Facts, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu here. We begin at the beginning, as we always do, the big stories. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, is seeking partners to help revive the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries. The refineries are not in operation despite the government having spent billions of dollars for its rehabilitation. Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL, Bayo Julari, revealed this on X on Thursday. Julari says the move is to ensure the refineries operate effectively. Now, former GCEO of NNPC, Mele Kyari, had secured external partnerships worth $2.5 billion in contracts to rehabilitate the refineries. Okay, so yet another step taking us a little bit closer to the promised land, wherever that may be. And there is the belief that the promised land is better than where you are. The reason why it's called the promised land is because all your dreams come true there. And if you want to get biblical, I guess, it's supposed to be a land flowing with milk and honey. But in this case, refined crude that becomes petrol. So, NNPC is saying, we need partners. These refineries will not just be matter, occupy space. We need them to be functional. Now we have seen, thanks to Dangote, well, we've always known, we just didn't have anybody taking the bold move, that refineries can work in this country as they should. If one man, a billionaire, can do it, then the Nigerian state should be able to pull it off. But the private sector is desperately needed to come in as partners. This is a good move because we know that in some way, shape, or form, the private sector has to get involved if the refineries are ever going to work, right? And they need to get involved in whatever way they can, either an outright buy-off, so that means they should sell the refineries. I'm sure it will not cost as much as Dangote's refinery, that is the biggest in Africa right now, and will soon be the biggest in the world in about 2 or 3 years, right? It shouldn't cost that much. Or a partnership that works. And Nigeria has meddled in the business of PPP, public-private partnership. We've been successful in some way. But we have to ensure that the management is in the hands of the private sector. That part of the partnership has to be covered by them. The problem, however, is the one problem we've always had: accountability. Because you see, telling partners to come, bring their monies, invest, partner, so that we can revive these refineries is actually good on paper. But you need to explain what has happened to all the monies in the past that was used to revive these refineries. I remember when my colleagues, journalists, were pursuing those at the helm of affairs. When will the refinery come on stream? Particularly the Port Harcourt one. They say October. From October, they say it's November, December. They kept pushing it. And at some point, they pushed it for 2 whole years. It's next year. Meanwhile, $1.5 billion had been appropriated twice. I personally remember counting twice for these refineries to come on stream. So if you're telling me, an investor, to come and partner and bring my money, it's a good idea. But if you cannot explain to me what you did with your own money, it's going to be difficult for me to believe that you manage my own money better. Think about it. The government put its own money into fixing the refineries. We're still asking questions. And I understand that with these partnerships, there are lots of papers signed, there are agreements, there's legal binding. Yes, we agree. I don't want to jinx it. But lots of people will be wary. So I hope this works. And I know that, well, partners will very likely come forward. But NNPC, if you want to make this easy, accountability. Hopefully this partnership does not work and then we suddenly forget that billions of dollars was invested. Well, I guess I can't use the word invested. Was put to make these refineries work. And you know, the part that hurts me the most is that Dangote said, he didn't suggest, he said that refinery will not work. Said it very clearly. And people attacked him. Oh, enemy of progress. You're saying that because you have your own refinery. Do you know what this sounds like? It's like your uncle in the village in classic Nollywood fashion telling you will never make it. And then he does this. And you say, Uncle, never, I must make it. And then you finally don't make it. So, investors, partners, if you are available, well, present yourself. Please, we need those refineries to work. We desperately need those refineries to work. Thank you. Moving on. This is not supposed to be news, but because of events that have preceded this one, it's a big deal. Senator Natasha Akpoti has invited Senate President Akpabio and other lawmakers to attend a project commissioning event in her state 2 months after returning from suspension. Akpabio read Akpoti invitation letter to the lawmakers during plenary on Thursday. In the letter, the senator said the project inauguration scheduled for Sunday, November 2 in Ihima, Kogi State will mark her second anniversary in the Senate. After reading the letter, Akpabio congratulated the lawmaker. That's amazing. So, Sam, what's so special about a senator inviting other senators and also her Senate president to a project commissioning? There's no big deal. So why is it in the big news? I don't know. But let's hear them.
The commissioning and flag off of projects and constituency empowerment. This letter therefore serves as a formal invitation to you all to grace and participate in the activities marking my second anniversary in office. The ceremony is scheduled as follows. Senator Natasha Akpoti residence, plot 101, Jimo Akpoti Street, Ihima, Okehi, local government area of Kogi State, for Sunday, November 2, 2025, time 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The venue is accessible by air through Obajana, airstrip facility near Lokoja, and by road from Abuja. While I look forward to welcoming you, please accept the assurances of my highest regards. Yours truly, Senator Barrister Natasha H. Akpoti Uduaghan. Congratulations in advance. Any petitions?
Okay. So these days, to know how Nigerians feel, we have to go to social media. Because, that's the available platform now. Lots of people were calling on Natasha, say, you two, they find trouble. Why are you doing this? What is it? Leave Akpabio alone. And Natasha responded that it was not personal. She says her invitation to Senate President Akpabio and other lawmakers for the commissioning of project in Kogi was in line with legislative procedure. In her words, today, as is customary for announcements of such nature, I wrote a letter to the Senate through the presiding officer to the Senate President to read on the floor. I put out the invitation so it wouldn't seem like I was celebrating in isolation. I'm a progressive person. Even with ongoing court cases, I continue to carry out my duties in the chamber and follow proper procedure. So, 2 years in the Senate, a couple of projects she's done for her people because she is their rep, and she invites the entire Senate body. Say, come. And I like how in the letter, she specifically gave them the location of her house. If you want to come by air, it's accessible. If it's by road, also accessible. I don't think there's any water body that leads there. So that if you cannot, Natasha, I didn't remember to, let me get to that part.
The commissioning and flag Ihima, Okehi, local government area of Kogi State, for Sunday, November 2, 2025, time 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The venue is accessible by air through Obajana, airstrip facility near Lokoja, and by road from Abuja. While I look forward to welcoming you, please accept the assurances of my highest regards.
Exactly. So anyhow you're coming, Natasha, don't go. It's by road. Straight from Abuja side. If you are here at the National Assembly, you just look straight. You will see the house. Say, okay. I only fly. You say there's no problem. Also by air. The airstrip is not too far. Natasha, I prefer trekking. Say even perfect. We love trekkers. Remember when they didn't allow me go home? Yes, I found a way. Now, the narrative is people are now asking, will Akpabio go for... Oh, my goodness. I hate that our Senate is making headlines for dramatic reasons, not developmental purposes. Everyone says, if Akpabio does not go, they will not say, hey, you still have something in your mind. This woman that you have done all this to, she invited you, you did not go. Others are saying, if he now goes, all eyes will be on him. Because remember when Natasha granted an interview claiming that she was sexually, was it assaulted by Akpabio? She said that she went to his house with her husband. If you remember, and he took me, he showed me his chapel, he did this one, my husband was at the back, he was carrying me, he said, would you like to come to this house? Now it is Akpabio's turn to come to her own house. I feel like somebody should be writing this thing down and sell it to Netflix, because this is a movie. So whatever Akpabio decides to do, he doesn't go, he say you are beefing the woman. He goes, say, oh, now you are going to her house after she has come to your house. But it is what it is. Kogi people will be more than willing to welcome their rep, and hopefully the projects commissioned will be in their best interest. I bet you this event will be covered crazily by the media. And people will not even care about the project. They will just say, how far did the Senate president come? Okay. Finally, before I open the phone lines, petrol marketers are warning that petrol prices could rise above 1,000 naira per litre following President Bola Tinubu's approval of a 15% import tariff on fuel. The new policy, which takes effect after a 30-day transition period ending November 21, aims to protect local refiners and limit cheaper imports. But marketers argue that a tariff could worsen hardship and make petrol unaffordable for many Nigerians. Some depot operators say the product, which already sells for 920 naira per litre, may become more expensive once the tariff takes effect. Okay, so this policy kind of looks good. It is to encourage local production. If you are importing, you pay 15% extra. For those who are refining locally, and at this point it's only Dangote, you don't pay anything. So that means Dangote's fuel will be cheaper. Those who import will be more expensive. In other words, we are trying to encourage the local option. The problem, however, is still with the Nigerian system, because at this time, even though we have in our country the biggest refinery in Africa, which can conveniently handle the whole of Nigeria's supply, Dangote's refinery, according to reports, data that is verifiable, only accounts for 40% of Nigeria's supply. The other 60% is imported. So import still has a larger market share, which is a problem. So if this has to work, then we must ensure that the local that you are trying to encourage gets crude. Because the guy who has refinery cannot be doing everything to try to get crude locally. There's a naira for crude deal that nobody really understands like that. And then you say, okay, we want to encourage you. Let's put a tariff on imported fuel. Meanwhile, there are still controversies as to whether or not it's easy to get the crude. So what needs to happen? If you want to empower the local refinery, empower it completely. Let it be easy to get crude. Fix the other refineries. Well, I'm glad they say they are looking for partners. Hopefully they get them soon. And that's it. At some point, we'll be self-sufficient. We will not need to import. But the coalition, under the Partners for National Economic Progress, PANEP, have taken to the streets of Port Harcourt, urging the federal government to guarantee steady crude oil supply to the Dangote refinery. The protesters carried placards calling for an end to fuel importation and more support for local refineries. The national coordinator of the Patriotic Nigeria Youth Forum, Olamide Odumosu, says the rally is to expose what the group calls sabotage in the petroleum sector. He insists that denying local refineries access to crude oil undermines national interest and wants President Bola Tinubu to step in. That's very correct.
We will not allow the greedy oil cartel to strangle Dangote refinery and ultimately kill everyone other assets at local refinery in Nigeria. It is this reason that the PIA encouraged regulatory agencies to formulate policies that would ensure the supply of crude oil to local refineries. Consequently, we call on His Excellency to use his power and his good office to stop these abnormalities and ensure that under his good work, Dangote and other local refineries have access to local crude supply. No more sabotage in this country when it comes to the PIA bill.
The coordinator of the Niger Delta Youth Council, Dan Nessie Momo, adds that depending on imported crude is crippling the economy and worsening the hardship faced by ordinary Nigerians.
The NNPC must give Dangote 100% crude oil. We are saying no to the potato of Dangote refinery. Bringing crude oil from outside Nigeria is strangling our economy. We all, as common Nigerians, we are paying dearly for it. An attempt for NNPC, Pedasi and Datman not to give Dangote refinery or all local refineries in Nigeria crude, they will have us to protect with. This is to rescue Nigeria economy from the sabotage of Lupex, Datman, Pedasi. You must satisfy the indigenous refineries before moving outside.
So that's the thing. Well, the president may have done well by imposing a tariff on fuel import. There's more work to be done. If Dangote cannot access crude easily, then we're wasting our time. If he's importing crude to refine locally and supply locally, it's effort in futility. 08179230002 08179230003. NNPC 6 partners to revive refineries. Senator Natasha invites the Senate President and lawmakers to project commissioning in Kogi, and marketers warn that petrol price could exceed 1,000. Call me and tell me what your thoughts are. Good afternoon, Sam. On the contrary, the NDLEA actually wrestle against flesh and blood. Yeah, true. But sometimes they take the form of principalities and powers. Fine Mind says, no right-thinking investor would want to partner with Nigeria's refinery, a facility that has refused to work after billions of dollars have been spent on so-called turnaround maintenance. The solution to the refinery problem is privatization. The Nigerian government is not a good manager. It's not only in the refinery. Every business of Nigeria's government is poorly managed. The now working petrochemical at Eleme was just as moribund as a refinery until it was privatized. Natasha just loves controversy. She wants to always be in the news. Tell her we're still waiting for evidence of the sexual harassment. But the case is in court. So let's see how that goes. Joseph from Eleme. Hello, Joseph. Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
We go direct to from the NNPC. I would say that it's a good thing, but I would admonish that they should direct our call to privatization of the refinery. The money the Nigerian government has invested or sink into this facility too much. From the area 1 to area 3. I want to beg that they should not allow this to be abandoned, because it will be a waste of fun and
All right, Joseph, I'm sorry. Something about it just was not working. JJ, good afternoon.
Yeah, Sam.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Sam.
Go ahead.
Sam, have you gone around filling stations and see how much they are selling right now? If you compare it to how much Dangote is selling by 880 something naira, maybe less than that at the depot price, and right now there's hardly any filling station you go that is not selling for the I don't know who has announced the 90 something naira or 900 and something naira as the pump price. So if Dangote Dangote supply has amount to about 40% of whatever we are consuming right now, not sincere to us, 9 something, their price is not supposed to be based on Dangote pricing. Why are they selling at this high rate? Now, this is what will happen. By the time this comes out and they said it's 1,000 something, you will see that it will be like nobody is buying for Dangote at 8 something again. Maybe that time even, the Dangote price would have even come down, but nobody will agree that they are buying from Dangote. It happened here when there was serious scarcity and people are saying they were from depot. The governor then went to One, was coming back, saw one filling station along LLA1 side that was selling. And their name was among those lists that loaded from the refinery directly. So I don't know how we can do that, because everybody will want to sell for that 1,000 something, which will not be good for our economy at all, because that's why things are very expensive. And at the end of the day, we may suffer for it.
Thank you, JJ. Ezeken calls from Ubimini. Hello, Ezeken.
Good afternoon, Mr. SOC.
Good afternoon.
Mr. SOC, I think by analysis concerning the Senate members and the barrister who invited colleagues, it's not to break somebody's table. You know, they say that charity begins at home. And I believe that there is love in sharing.
Okay.
Since the Senate president at one time invited husband and wife to his residence, it is also a kind of magnanimity of the barrister, the senator, to also invite all the members, all her members, to come and cheer her up with her project. Mr. SOC, if you ask me, I would say that literally that senator didn't or was not thinking to commission any project by this time based on the problem she was having with the Senate members or with the Senate president. So for me, it's a good one for her. Then in the area of Dangote importing crude or whatever.
Quickly, as I can, I'm out of time.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I happen to be out of time because I've been informed that there is an engagement. Stay with us.